So my name is Paul Donati. I'm the founder of a company called Catching a Fish in Norway. So I started my business as a means of trying to combat some of the social impacts in the fashion industry and to make a bit of extra cash while at university. And also just for the challenge to see if I could start my own business. I mean, I think the primary aim, it's like a small student-led brand, was just to see if we could try and promote awareness of some of these issues first. So for example, if Monsanto approach a marginalized farmer and suggest that he starts to use a new seed or a new type of pesticide or a new fertilizer, that farmer often ends up getting stuck in a chain of having to use those, especially when prices then begin to rise. And then what we'd really like to do in the future to try and combat that is work with other NGOs who can help educate farmers, for example, on how to avoid getting stuck in these debt cycles, working with NGOs so that we can try and educate farmers on how to collectivize so that they can create their own farming communities. For example, they have something called producer companies in India, which they can come together, learn how a company is run, and have more power on the market when they're trying to sell their product. That's one example of what we'd like to do, but until we can really grow financially as a brand, it's quite difficult to do that. So for the time being, it's more a question of getting people to become more aware. I think that's the first step, really, is generally raising awareness so that people understand what they're doing. The grant funding was great because it enabled you to have the financial freedom to explore the ideas that you wanted to explore. So just having the liberty to be able to make decisions without worrying as a student, where am I going to get this like funding from? Like, unless you're from a rich family who can pay it for you, and you're kind of stuck. So having that extra bit of money, even if it's £500 or £2,000 towards a marketing campaign, is fantastic. And the problem with grant funding is that it's not always appropriately used. But what UEA did really well was they gave you great feedback. They wouldn't just award you funding. You'd have to go through a series of different rounds of applications to be able to actually understand, like, A, am I going to spend this funding properly? And B, when I haven't been accepted for an application, where's my business plan going wrong? You just get a lot of other ideas that you wouldn't necessarily get. So my message to alumni would be that if you've started your own business, whether that was through the university or by yourself, then you definitely have an idea as to how difficult that is and the strength that takes when you're doing it by yourself. And if you can afford to donate anything towards the university, which helps people like me and other students who wouldn't necessarily start a business if it wasn't for this help, I think you're doing something really good, giving back to a university, which is great.